Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the lesson number 11. So we are going to continue the modeling lesson. Okay, so we have another model for today. I got it from macgee.com. So this is the model. I have already downloaded everything, all assets, and this model actually has two sizes, the tall and the wide. We are going to model the tall, okay? Uh, yeah, we have the dimensions over here. Of course, we are going to use the tall dimensions for this model. Okay, so let's jump into Blender and start modeling. Okay, so as I said, I have already collect all the assets, so I will delete all these objects from my viewport, and I will add my reference image in the viewports. Just drag and drop it, and that's it. So the same thing, we are going to do the same thing we did last lesson. So we are going to create a cube to set the dimensions and scale the reference to match this cube. Okay, so press N to open this tab and set the dimensions on the X, Y, and Z axis. So the X axis, we are going to put 26 inches, right? So the y-axis we're going to put 26 inches as well, and the z-axis, let me check it out, 30 inches. Okay, so select the reference and scale it down pressing S. So press S and then press G to move, S again, and again try to fit the reference on this cube. I'm going to use the bigger part, this upper part, as the main size. Okay, so I'm going to fit this upper part of this side table to the cube. So something like this. Yes, maybe a little bit to the right. Scale down a little bit. And yeah, I think that's it. You're good to go. Now the next step is to think about the primitives. Looking at this object, what kind of primitives do you think we can start? So this upper part here looks like a cylinder, and this bottom part here as well. So we have again another model based on a cylinder. So we have this part in the middle that is a cylinder as well. And also we have these arms around this table that looks like a box, a cube. Okay, so a thin box, thin cube. So based on this information, I think we have everything to start modeling. Okay, so let me delete all these lines and let's get started. So Shift A and add a cylinder. Press S to scale, and this first cylinder will be this upper part of this table. So press Tab to go to the edit mode. Select all these bottom vertices and bring it up to try to match the same size of this upper part. Just bring it down a little bit to see if we are on the same path or in the same path here. So maybe these bottom vertices, we need to bring it down a little bit. Yeah, something like this. And yeah, I think it's good. So we can bring it back to the original point. And let me see. Now, I think, yeah, this part, it's okay. I think we are good to go. We're good to move to the next step, that will be this middle part and then the bottom part. So to duplicate this object, you can use the shortcut Shift D. So if you press Shift D, you can duplicate it. And notice that when we try to scale it, it's scaling based on my pivot. So we are going to talk about that later on, but to move the pivot to the center of the object, what you have to do is press right click and then go to set origin and origin to center of mass. So now the pivot is in the center of the object, and now when you scale it, you can see that it's scaling on based on the middle of this object. Okay, so place the object in the middle, something like this. Also, let's duplicate it to use on the bottom part. So duplicate pressing Shift D, and let's scale it a little bit, pressing S. And yeah, okay, so let's adjust the scale. So just place it somewhere over here, and maybe we can scale it down. Just press tab to go to the edit mode, select these bottom vertices and bring it up a little bit to fit the size. And yeah, I think it's good to go. The next one will be this bottom part. Do the same thing, bring it to the bottom, select all this bottom part, all these vertices on the bottom, and bring it up a little bit, something like this. Okay, so let's jump to the next step. So we are going to create these holes on the cylinder. So as you can see in our reference, we have kind of thickness to the cylinder. We have this, like in the middle is empty, we don't have like anything. So to do that, press tab to go to the edit mode, select the face mode, just select the bottom and the top part and press I to inset. So let's make an inset and make a thickness to this to the cylinder. Okay, you can always adjust the thickness here. Okay, let's use 0.015, and I will copy it to use on the other object. So to make this hole, we have to go to the edge menu and go to bridge edge loops, and voila, we have our object done. Okay, so let's do the same here. Select the upper face and the bottom face. Now press I to inset, and let me paste the same number here, so we have the same thickness, and edge menu, bridge edge. And yeah, now we have this bottom part and the middle part exactly how it is. So just bring them up a little bit to the middle, and I think we have this part missing. So I will duplicate the bottom part and bring it to the upper part. So just adjust the size, and yeah, I think it's good. Okay, so the next step is going to be these arms. So to do that, we are going to use a cube. So let's get started on this part. So press Shift A to add a cube. Okay, so and scale it down to match the same size of one of these arms. So let's use this front arm over here to match the size. So go to the edit mode, pressing tab, select these vertices over here and bring it to the right, something like this. And these vertices bring it to the left. So here on the bottom we have the size, the actual size. Okay, so select everything. Actually, I think we have to adjust the depth. Okay, so let me bring it close to the front vertices. Okay, so something like this. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah, so something like this. Okay, I think this is the thickness. I'm not quite sure. Let me see. I think so. Maybe it's a little bit thicker. Let's like put it in the right position and see how it is. Maybe we need to adjust it. So as you can see here, we have like these arms welded to these rings, and this is what we are going to do: weld them together. Okay, so I will select this piece here and I rotate it pressing R to the x-axis, I think. No, the z-axis, actually. Z-axis 90 degrees. Just type 90 on your numpad and it will automatically set 90 degrees to the object. So place it somewhere like here, and let's adjust it in the right position. Okay, so the pivot again is out of the center. So right click, set origin to the center of mass, and here you go. So just adjust it to be in the center of this ring and align to the bottom. So go to the top view, pressing 7, and then let's change to the wire mode, so Shift Z, and just place it to the center, something like here. Okay, so now let's create this arm. So go to the edit mode, select these upper vertices and bring them to the top of your side table. So let's add a cut in the middle of this cube, of this part, pressing Ctrl R, and just click and release it. Now let's bring these vertices close to this middle ring. Okay, so something like this. As you can see here, as it is welded, we have to actually create another cut and place it something like, let me show you. Just Ctrl R to add these vertices and bring them somewhere like here. Maybe center it to the upper face and bring them close to the ring. Yeah, something like this. Okay, so maybe we have to do it in this bottom part as well. Okay, so let's do the same. Let's press Ctrl R to create a loop and bring it down, something like this, and bring these vertices close to the ring. Yeah, something like this. I think this upper part we don't need to do that because it won't be visible, so I think it's good enough. Yeah. Okay, the next step is going to be, let's maybe adjust the size, actually the thickness of these arms. So let's just select these, select those face and bring them to the right a little bit. Something like this, maybe. Yeah, not bad. Okay, so the next step is to duplicate the arms. So let's take a look at our model. And as you can see, they are perfectly centered and aligned. So to do that, we have actually to change the orientation of the pivot. So why you have to do that? Because now if you try to rotate it, you're going to see that it will rotate, but it will rotate in its own axis. So we have to change the pivot to the center of this entire side table. Okay, so to do that, we have to press right click and go to set origin and origin to the 3D cursor. Okay, so now the pivot is in the 3D cursor, and now if you try to rotate it, it's going to rotate based where the pivot is. So as the pivot is in the center of this side table, as you can see here, the entire arm is going to rotate following these rings. So to duplicate it, as we already know, the shortcut is Shift D. And now just release pressing right click. So the next step is to rotate it. So if you press R and press 90 degrees and press enter, it will be set to 90 degrees. So we are going to repeat this step twice. So Shift D to duplicate, R to rotate, and Z to rotate on the Z axis, and then type 90 on your keyboard and press enter. Okay, so as you can see here, we have our model almost done. And I don't know if you remember, but last time we used the modifier subdivision to make the details of our object, but this time we are not going to use this modifier. We are going to use bevels on the edges of these objects, and it will be much easier because we don't need to apply a lot of edge loops. Okay, so the first step is select the object and press Ctrl A and apply all transforms. So it's important to do this step because it will reset the transforms of our object. So all these objects, all these transforms over here is now set to 0. Okay. So this step is important because when we start like adding the bevels to the edges, it will be on the right scale. Okay, so let's go to the edit mode and select the edge mode actually. Okay, so we are going to add these the bevels in this area. So select the edge mode, Shift Alt click to select the entire loop, and same for the bottom part, and go to this bevel manipulator over here and just click in it, and now click in this button, the yellow button, and just click and drag, and then you can see that you can adjust the size of this bevel. Also, you can always adjust it here in this menu. And also you can adjust the segments. Let's put 4 segments to these edges. Okay, so let's get back to the object mode and press right click on this object and shade smooth. And as you can see here, we have the same result as applying the subdivision modifier. And it means that you don't need to always apply a subdivision modifier to your objects. Actually, it's not healthy for your scene, because when you apply a subdivision to your models, your models start to become heavy. So when you render it in the scene, you get slow renders because the mesh is so heavy that you can't render it. So it's important you have it in mind, okay? So there is another way to add bevels to your object. And actually we have a modifier called bevel. Okay, so if you go here and select bevel to this object, you're going to see that it creates the same effect. So here in the amount, you can adjust the size of the bevel. Okay, so let's try 003. No, probably have to decrease it a lot. 005, maybe 001 actually, because my unit is set to meters, so that's why. Segments, let's add 4. Okay, so again, right click and shade smooth, and let's do the same for the rest of this object. So let's apply this bevel modifier, and let's use the same number, 0.001, and segments set to 3. Okay, so for this part, I'm going to speed up the video because I'm going to do the same thing for all these parts. So just apply bevel for all of them. And now we have one last thing, this sphere detail on the arm. So let's add a sphere. And basically what you have to do is just click and drag to have the shape of the sphere on the position you want. So something like this. So I'll move this sphere to something like this. And now we are going to use the same technique to duplicate it on the other arms. Okay, so I will duplicate it using Shift D. I will place it on the bottom as well, and I will press Ctrl J. And basically what Ctrl J does is join these two objects in one. Okay, so now I will press Ctrl J again and press R to rotate. And I will type 90 degrees on my numpad, and you have to keep doing it for the rest of these arms. Okay guys, so I think we have just finished our model. And for the next lessons, and actually the last lesson, we are going to keep learning about new techniques for modeling. Stay tuned, because we are going to learn more things about modeling. Okay, so thank you very much guys. I hope you have enjoyed it, and if you like it, please subscribe to my channel and leave your like as well. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next lesson.